Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Thank God for another day. This is the Bible 101 class for February 27, 2022. It is coming from the book of First Kings, 21st chapter, verses 5 through 16. Again, First Kings, 21st chapter, verses 5 through 16. Let's begin with prayer. Dear Heavenly Father God, we thank you for this opportunity given us to study your word. Let this word go into our hearts that we might not sin against thee, to let our light shine, that men may see our good works and glorify you, the Father which is in heaven. Amen. Now, we left off with Satan at the door of Ahab because his countenance fell, because he fell into the spirits of envy, jealousy, rage. He was peevish and he was angry that Naboth, whose name means fruit, who was from the Jezreelites, which actually means um, God will grow, is now giving him, he wanted his vineyard and he gave him the reason why he couldn't do it, which was under Mosaic law, it fell to him in an inheritance. But a character fault of this type of behavior, got mad and went home and was pining away in being envy and being jealous. And it turned to, like the word peevish just basically means he was peed off, ticked off, and angry that he couldn't have what he wanted. I want. A lot of people have a I want syndrome. I want, I want, I want, and don't look at the big picture. And in fact, they don't even look at the little picture around them. So, what happens next is someone is going to feed that anger and that displeasure and that rage, and that someone is going to be Jezebel, his wife. And we all know her problems with being where she is. Remember, she was the the daughter of the king of Tyre. She was used to seal a deal. She brought with her the worshiping of idols, and it was instituted in the government of northern Israel or Samaria, to seal the deal. So, and then Elijah, the prophets, of course, came up against her. So, she's not loving anything that's not her herself. She has the me, myself, and I problem too. So we're going to start off with, again, First Kings 21st chapter, verse 5, and we'll continue to 16. But Jezebel his wife came to him and said unto him, Why is thy spirit so sad, that thou eatest no bread? And he said unto her, Because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and said unto him, Give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard. And Jezebel his wife said unto him, Dost thou not govern the kingdom of Israel? Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. And so she wrote letters in Ahab's name, and sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in his city, dwelling with Naboth. And she wrote in letters, saying, Proclaim a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people, and set two men, sons of Belial, before him to bear witness against him, saying, Thou didst blaspheme God and the king, and then carry him out and stone him that he may die. And the men of his city, even the elders and the nobles who were the inhabitants in his city, did as Jezebel had sent him unto them. And as it was written in the letters which she had sent unto them, they proclaimed a fast and set Naboth on high among the people. And there came in 2 men, children of Belial, and said before him, the men of Belial witness against him, even against Naboth, in the presence of the people. Naboth did blasphemy God and the king. Then they carried him forth out of the city and stoned him with stones, and he died. Then they sent to Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass, when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money, for Naboth is not alive. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth and the Jezreelite, to take possession of it. Now, there's a lot to unpack here. One, the man can set the tone in his household. My wife gets on me about that all the time. You can either set a good tone or you can set a bad tone. But the man is and we talk about this in men's Bible study, the man is the temperature gauge. He can either cool things off or he can make things red hot. And sometimes we do it and we're not even thinking we're doing it. But in this case, Ahab knew exactly what he was doing. And I say this because it was a character flaw. It was a character flaw for Ahab, and it was a character flaw for Jezebel to react. Now, one, he's sitting there peevish and angry, and then is what? Not eating any food, just laying there, no bread to eat. His turned away his face like a spoiled child that doesn't get what I want. We talked about the I want thing. So Jezebel, who of course is his wife, who's already under the pressure of what she did, sees Ahab and she asks, Why is thy spirit? Okay, and that's the Hebrew word ruach. Why is thy spirit so sad? So she understands that this is an emotional thing. It's not something that, was a short term. This is a long emotional problem. Why is thy spirit so sad, so peevish? So don't think sad in the sense of, losing a loved one, or, because of things that's going on, you think about it and you're kind of in a somber mode. No, we're not talking about that. She's saying, why is your spirit so peevish that thou eatst, and it's causing you to what? Not eat bread. Now, like I said, there's a lot to unpack here of what she does and how it relates to the emotional and I want state of both her and Ahab. But it goes on, it says that Ahab tells her the situation, that, he just wanted the vineyard. He said, I'll give you money. And if you don't want the money, I'll give you the vineyard. And then he says, Naboth said no. Now, We know that's not how it happened. But when someone is in that I want state of mind, that I want character flaw, they're going to lie or they're going to omit major information. And that's what Ahab is doing now. Like I said, Ahab is a full participant in this. This isn't quote unquote someone peevish and angry and not knowing what they're doing. He knows what he's doing. He knows who his wife is. He probably couldn't do what he wanted to do under Mosaic law, but he's not telling Jezebel that. He's just saying this man is just being mean and stuck up against him. But that's not the fact. The only reason why Naboth would not sell him the vineyard because it was of his inheritance from the tribe that he belonged to, that was given once they crossed the Jordan River, and that God said you don't sell your inheritance. You can, in fact, under Jewish law, they can only lease it, and they can only lease it up to the year of Jubilee, and it has to be given back to them. So he does not give Jezebel this information, knowing who he has for a wife. So everyone is being manipulated by sin here. Ahab and Jezebel. So Jezebel's reaction said, who does Naboth think he is? Don't you know you're the king of Israel? Don't you know my daddy sent me here to marry the king of Israel? Don't you know who I am, self and I? Not so much about Ahab. It's about your affront to Ahab is an affront to me because you don't know my position. Don't you know? Don't he know that you're the king of Israel? And if he's the king of Israel, I'm the wife of the king of Israel. So she tells him, go get your bread. I will. Like I said, we look at things and we miss things when we're reading this. She said, eat your bread, let thy heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. Now, as I said, Ahab has that me, myself, and I character flaw that leads to sin, the same character flaw that Cain had. Jezebel has that same character flaw that's going to lead to sin, and Ahab knew it, and Jezebel was glad to oblige and make it happen. Sin. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name, which she was not allowed to do. Use his seal, which she was not allowed to do. Send letters to the elders and nobles that were in the city, dwelling with Naboth. Now, she wrote these letters with easy instructions to follow. She said, set them on high. And that's what the word is, right? They set that innocent on high, and then they get liars to talk about them. And that's when you see, and set two men, sons of Belial. Now, that's not a person. That is Satan, sons of that are worthless. Belial means worthless, without profit, wicked. Sons of is also described in other writings as sons of Satan. So sons that will what? Accuse, steal, destroy, do whatever is evil that Satan, that evil does. So you say you find some bad men. That's basically some lying, ungodly sons of that wickedness. She knows because she worships Baal. So you find some sons of wickedness and you bear witness against him, saying that he blasphemed against God. Now, because they know that's the only way they could carry out an execution a lot of people blaspheme against the king, and they do. Everybody gets mad against the king and the president. But under Mosaic law, if you blaspheme against God, you should be stoned to death. So, bears false witness, creates false witness. She uses the law to persecute Naboth, and she tells them, make sure that law carries out to its full extent, which is to have him stoned that he may die. So think about this. Naboth, whose name means fruit, from an area that is blessed to grow, is now going to be cut off and destroyed by sin. That is the situation here, and that is a theme we would see later in the New Testament. Now, Naboth did no wrong, but they would, I'm talking about Jesus. Remember, Jesus did no wrong, but they brought what? False witnesses against him that he did what? Blaspheme against God, which would be what? Punishable by death. So here we see this foreshadowing and typology regarding Naboth and Jesus. So they blaspheme, they set him on high, okay? They set him on high in front of the people to bring him down where the people would what? Act in sin and kill him and stone him. So she sends the letters to who? The elders, which is those who are representative of that city, and the nobles. Now, the nobles are the pure ones. Those are the ones that their bloodlines go back to the princes that were described in, I think, the book of Kings or Chronicles, and also probably in the book of Judges, I believe. So to get them to do what Jezebel required. Now, remember what's in the letters. These people were not tricked to do this. The letters basically said, set him up, bring false witnesses against him to bring him down, make sure that he's stoned and that he dies. So this has the king letterhead and the king's seal. Now, many people in leadership has told people under them to do the wrong thing. What is their out and excuse? I was just following orders. No, you have an accountability and responsibility too to understand that the orders were wrong. There's a reason why David sent the letters to Joab to kill Bathsheba's husband, because David knew that Joab was an evil person himself and would do it without a thought, because Joab had done things that were sinful and David knew about it, and David had done things that were sinful and Joab knew about it. Now, you get how I'm saying how this can infect a spirit of evil and sin in the highest places. We battle not against flesh and blood, but against evil in high places. That's what is going on here. They could have seen that letter and said, what? not doing that. That is sinful. That is murder. But they did it. They proclaimed the fast. They set him up on high because he probably was a God fearing man that would do a fast, and the people knew who Naboth was. And then they brought in the children. Now, we went from the two men were the children of Belial. That means there are many that have that evil, sinful spirit in them. They're the children of that spirit. And they witnessed against him in the presence of the people that they lied and said he blasphemed against God and the king. Then they carried him forth and they stoned him and he died. They stoned Stephen with false report. They sent Jesus to be crucified with false report. And here is Naboth. So we see how when our leadership gets corrupt from the top, it spreads down and the entire government becomes corrupt. That someone could send a letter like this and there's nobody to speak against it, nobody to say we're not going to do this, nobody at all to reproof them. This is the time we are in. We're hearing straight up lies from people in high places, knowing the truth. The truth is right there. You see Naboth every day. Naboth is doing nothing wrong. The truth is there. The truth is there for everyone. But yet, the children of Baal, the children of Belial is what? Working evil and doing evil. And no one is stopping them. No one is reproofing them. Why is that? I don't know. But I know how it's going to end up. Just like this will end up, and we'll get to that in next week's lesson. Naboth is now dead. Ahab has taken the vineyard that he was not supposed to take, that was against the law. So next week, we'll see how this ends up for Ahab, and we can talk about how this will end up for us if we don't change what's going on right now around us, letting the children of Belial work wickedness and evil in our local government, state government, federal government, and in our world. I hope you enjoyed this brief overview of the Bible 101 class coming from 1 Kings 21st chapter, verses 5 through 16. Have a great day and a great week. God bless you.